You know, first things first, people will come in here and talk about mods and stuff because I have these visual effects. I have a camera that's slightly zoomed out, and some people will shit on me for it, and it's kind of like, whatever, in my opinion. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I feel like modding in this game not that big of a deal. Especially since, if you think about ultra wides, in terms of the zoom hack, it's really not that big of a difference. Actually, oh, type. Thank you. Community has always been a great factor of what's game. But going back to the topic, you know, I've seen people with widescreens and they can actually see more than what I can see. So don't really see the issue with zoom hack as long as you're not going crazy. My mentality. In terms of some of the other mods that I run, most of it is just visual, right? I have an outfit, I have visual effects, and that's just to enhance my own experience. Don't ever really think like that it's a big deal. Actually, sometimes it actually feels like a detriment because of all the effects going off. And even in this previous raids here, the zoom hack actually helped a little bit, but also it was detrimental against one of the very first mechanics in M8S. So I don't see an issue with it, and people will shit on me for it. I've gotten multiple comments saying that I need these mods to clear fights and whatnot. Obviously not true. But to each their own. Let's see, what other mods do I even have? A lot of it is just for clarity's sake too, right? Ping plugin, some quality of life, very helpful. Pixel perfect, I guess. UI mods, you get everything in a box. Yeah, I mean, I feel like as long as you aren't blatantly cheating, and you can get most of this stuff acquired through out of game resources, you should be able to do it in game. So what I mean by that is, if I get an ultra wide monitor, I would basically have a zoom hack. So, I mean, kind of a moot point. Oh, go and talk about the tier now that we've cleared it. I actually really enjoyed it against there. It really felt like, if anyone has done through, it felt like that is the pacing that they want to keep from now on. And if you go back and you look at M4S compared to Fru and this new tier, everything is so much faster. Everything needs a quicker reaction and being confident of what's coming up, and the speed at which mechanics shoot out is so fast, and that actually amplified the amount of enjoyment me and my group has had this whole tier. A lot of us were not that fond of the previous tier just because it was so easy. It was fun, but it wasn't the most enjoyable after the first like few clears. Whereas this tier, I don't see us complaining all too much for a while at least. The other thing is that they tried something that they haven't tried in a very long time, and it was kind of a breath of fresh air with the ads phase in M6S. It was brutal, especially since that was the first time I had to ever do something like that with a legitimate ad phase, but it was actually quite a lot of fun. The only thing that I would say is that it is so punishing off of one minor mistake, and anything can go wrong at any time. So that is the one thing that was a little rough, but I don't think having harsh punishment is a bad thing altogether. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of onus on the tanks in M6S as well, so I think that might have also helped. I guess the one issue I would say with that is that in terms of parsing, it's gonna suck. There's no way that if you don't use, you know, like a cleave maxing strat or something, you'll have a high parse. But for groups that got past M6S early and have the damage, their strats are not gonna. There's no real reason to swap their strats because the clear always comes over the parse. And if that's the case, then strats like the healer baiting for the physical ranged, or the off tank being able to take some time to cleave after killing the Yan really quickly. Like these kind of strats will kind of exemplify the problems with the parsing system. I know that FF Logs wanted to. They're doing a poll. They did a poll regarding the ads, and I think majority wanted the ads to be part of the parsing, which makes sense. I mean, the whole fight basically is ads phase, so it doesn't make sense to get rid of that from the logs. But there are always just going to be certain strategies that are going to be more beneficial and just better overall. But I mean, again, clear always matters more than parse. Like, who cares about your parse if you don't get the actual clear? Actually, we should just go down the line. So the first turn was a lot of fun. I love the music, but it was like, you know, quintessential FF rating. It's normal. It's what we have grown to expect. It's what we've grown to enjoy. Um, but there are no real new things in that fight, and I think that's fine because it is just the first one. It's supposed to ease us back into Savage, and it shows. In M6, there was a lot of new different mechanics, some randomness. The different cactus spawns, great. Ads phase hasn't been done since probably like Heaven's Ward, like an actual legitimate ads phase. So that was great. But maybe it was a little too hard for some people. I know that. Let's see, like some PFs are struggling to even get past it still, and this is week 3. Let's check actually. Sorry for not editing. Didn't want to. Just wanted to pull up a stream and just talk. Cause I couldn't go to sleep. You know, the music was fantastic. It is actually probably my favorite music out of all of the turns, this tier. And I would say that Water Rays, it's like, it's kind of like a victory lap in a sense. It's very what's the word? It's kind of like the last phase of an ultimate. You've gone through all the hard stuff, and now here is the last little bit that isn't too difficult if you know what you're doing. You can still wipe, but much easier. Well, let's look at this. So there are some M4s for sure. There are, you know, some M3s, but I guess people have been using Billy from what I know. Yeah, and see, and there's still some people still struggling to get past M2. And it is just unfortunate, it seems. It really is just unfortunate. Because I think M8S is probably one of the best fights that they've created. And M3 can be chaotic, but it's actually way easier than M2 just because of the level of punishment. Like you can essentially just limp through M7 because a lot of times you will be able to survive. But yeah, Desert promo. That's crazy. You know, what else? M7 music is also fantastic. It's callback to M3 in the first tier. You know, the story of Dantra has not been the best, but I think they definitely made it up with the quality of the fights themselves. Not to mention, like, Fru being one of the best fights they've created, in my opinion at least. But going back to the tier, the siege mechanic is really interesting, but also can be a little toxic in a sense. Especially if people are using Billy for their strats. I don't even know what locked seeds means. What is locked seeds? As you can tell, I have not used PF, but at the end of the day, I think Phase 2, well, not Phase 2, all 3 phases are super interesting because they haven't really had a fight that wasn't the 4th turn have multiple phases, and this was probably the first time, so that added a new element to the fight, which was really enjoyable. In M8, everything's so fast. It's actually really fun when you do the mechanics properly, and then once you get to Phase 2, the phase is so epic. The fight itself in Phase 2 is not as hard as Phase 1, in my opinion, but it is still enjoyable to do just because of the new arena, which also changes how you perceive the attacks that the boss is doing, as a new element that we're not used to normally. The teleporters add some sort of new aspect to the fight as well, because your damage can be kind of stifled a little bit, stifled, I should say, because of the time it takes to teleport between. And then the fact that attacks occur on the whole platform is also really interesting. The stack, for example, hits the whole platform. It doesn't matter where the attack comes from. On that platform, but really enjoyable, really fun. My group and I were thinking about maybe even taking a break if the fight wasn't as fun, but this fight, for sure, just like how Renan has said, has kind of reignited that passion in the game, and whatnot. There are still a few issues, I would say. I've talked about the ads phase in M6 in terms of parsing, but there are just certain issues still. For example, I know for a fact that some jobs need a lot of work. For example, I don't know why Machinist keeps getting destroyed in the manner that they are. It's almost laughable to bring a Machinist into M6 because of the ads phase. Like, bring a Machinist is so detrimental to the cleave strats that it's just almost always better to bring a bard or a dancer because their cleave is so much better. Ninja is struggling because of the different types of cleave that's needed. And so Viper just completely outshines it. In M8S, in the final phase, in Phase 2, Queen has a problem where she will not do her last attack, which is like 800 something potency, I forget. It just won't do it because of the teleporters randomly, which is insane. Let's see. What is it called? It's called... The attack is called... Crown Collider, that's what it's called. Yeah. I've seen Crown Colliders from machines not even go off because for some reason it just ends before it actually does it. I think it has something to do with the teleporter, so they need to fix that bug. The ads phase in 8S, awful. Why do we have to hold so much when we're not even in BIS? Like, we're not even close to BIS, and we're already having to hold a lot. It's crazy. Like, supposedly it's a bug, and they're looking into it, but that should have never been an issue to begin with, in my opinion. There are multiple issues with the way that the hitbox will well, not hitbox, I should say. The boss is so large in M8S in Phase 2 that it is almost impossible. I would say it is impossible to see exactly what the boss can be doing in certain points. For example, you just have to assume that if you don't see the tether on your side, there's a tether on the opposite side, which I don't think is the best. And then for the last ultraviolet, right before that, there's Hero's Blow. That attack, it's very hard to tell exactly where he's attacking without knowing exactly where to look. And I feel like using the boss's hitbox, especially when he's in that kind of form, is, while doable, lacks a little bit of clarity. And for a game where clarity is paramount, right? Having 1 pixel hitbox, having the snapshotting of AoEs based on indicators, using the boss hitbox in that manner lacks a lot of clarity a lot of times, and so it's hard to tell. The tome requirements, they should not be 450, man. 450 for tome requirements feels like a big fumble. I feel like they should at least increase it to at least 700, right? I know they unlock it to 900 at the end of the expansion or something like that, or at the end of the like a few months right before the next patch comes out or something like that. But having 450 as the cap for all the jobs that are possible effectively locks you out of gearing for multiple jobs. Let's say I get BIS for Samurai. Sure, I can get the BIS for Monk pretty easily. But let's say I want to do Samurai and Reaper, or Samurai and Viper. Now I'm set back another 7 weeks or something like that. Like it's crazy. Like why is that still a thing? It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I I really hope that they fix some of these issues that I'm talking about, help machinists fix all their bugs, but also keep doing what they're doing well. Raids this expansion have been fantastic. A little too easy on the first turn, or first tier, but other than that, it's been pretty good. And honestly, even though this game has a lot of issues, I always compare this game as, or use this game as the most important, or not the most important, the epitome of MMOs. I play multiple MMOs. I play Lost Ark as well, and honestly, Lost Ark, it's been a struggle. Spent a lot of money in that game, and it is not worth it. It is so dull. Fights are so similar. Same thing every time. It's really not that interesting. And so I do put this game on a pedestal to an extent when it comes to other games within this genre, but I wish it would be a little better. Just hash out a little bit of everything, and it could literally be the best MMO of all time. I still think it is, to be honest, but there's still some